Hi guys, it's Lucy from the Whole Health Project. This is day 2 of our 10 habits, 10 healthier habits from Ayurveda, things that you can implement at home to keep your body in a really natural and healthy rhythm so that you can be in optimum health. Really simple stuff. Some of the stuff seems obviously stupidly easy to implement, but some stuff that we really skip over as well. So Rachel talked about earlier lighted dinners yesterday, and I'm going to talk about earlier to bed today. And I particularly want to talk to those people who associate as night owls as well. So our body is naturally in rhythm with the sun and when the sun goes down, and it needs to have good 8 hours sleep in order to go through its detoxifying stages, in order to switch into its repair and to fully restore. And if you start going to bed later and later, you start delaying or disrupting these systems that can only happen when you're in sleep and when the body has enough time to dip into deep sleep. Then you start eating into the next day's energy supply. So when we wind down at night and we give ourselves plenty of time to wind down, then the body slips into a really deep and restorative sleep, and we start the day really fresh. In terms of Ayurveda, and in Ayurveda we have the 3 doshas, Kapha, Pitta and Vata. You don't really need to know too much about them now, but Kapha is the kind of really restorative and much slower dosha, and this is a period of time that the day up to in the evening up to 8 o'clock is known as our kapha time, when we naturally want to be winding down, slowing down. We've eaten our food earlier, we've had a lighter meal, so we've finished digesting by the time we go to bed, and then we switch into pitta time. Now if you're still doing lots in the evening, or if you've eaten late, then when you switch into the pitta time, which is more stimulating and more active, then you get what we know as our second wind, and that's when a lot of night owls start doing loads of work and feel energized again. Now you might be able to tick a few more things off your to-do list, but what you're doing is you're eating into that precious time bit where you can only go through those repair and restore systems when you're asleep. And again, it means that you're eating into tomorrow's supply of energy. So you will feel that rush of energy, or maybe you feel like you can get loads done because you've switched into that pitta time. But this is not doing you any service. It's a huge knock-on effect for our health if we're continuing to stay stimulated in that time and not allowing ourselves to wind down. We have the endocrine system, which is a group of glands that organizes all our hormones, for digestion, for detoxifying, for everything that happens in our body, and we want to be staying in sync with these systems. We don't want to be messing with them. So although we might be convincing ourselves that we're doing more that's more productive, we are messing with the way that the body wants to work. And when the body switches into that kapha period and starts slowing down, it's an indication that the body is telling you that it knows what it's doing, that it wants to slow down, so that we get to bed by 10 p.m. We sleep, we finish digesting, and then the body can switch into that repair and restore mode. And remember, it just can't do the kind of repairing and restoring that it does at night any other time. So this, if we are sticking within that, with those night owl hours, and we're continuing to stay up past 10 p.m., we start to see a massive increase in inflammation in the body, and just little knock-ons, like once every in a blue moon, that's fine. Then you start doing it night after night after night. We have a slight increase of cortisol, which is a stimulating hormone, at 8 p.m. So we want to be nice and wound down and calm, so that doesn't spike us up into a high alert and go busy, on the computer, with what they call junk light, as in light from our computers or artificial light, because that keeps us up and we start getting into that cycle. So try, if you are a night out, don't try and just suddenly, if you're going to bed at 12 or 1, you suddenly try and get to bed at 10 p.m. Just bring your hours, your bedtime back 15 minutes each night, or just, for a couple of nights, and just ease your way into earlier nights. And then you'll notice that you'll be waking up feeling a lot more energized. You'll be waking up with a sense of feeling really rested. And the period that you use to be really productive at night, you may be that you wake up at 6 or 6:30. You've had a lovely 8 hours sleep, and then you've got the period of time in the morning where you can go for a walk, do some exercise, and feel much more refreshed, so that you can use your day to do the same things that you wanted to do in the evenings. So the body is working with the systems that it sees around it, that it's part of. We're not the human body versus the world. We are part of this whole system. So anytime we try and go against the natural systems that we've evolved in, we start to have a huge effect on our overall health. So you can take a nice bath, have a nice walk, a gentle walk after your dinner because you've had an earlier dinner. Do some journaling, just chat with your housemates or whatever. Something that just indicates and works with that winding down sense of that kapha period. And then you slip into a much more restful and restorative sleep, and waking up with feeling restored and energized. We're bouncing out of bed. We don't want to be dragging ourselves out of bed. So you can't have a good 8-hour sleep starting from midnight and ending in at 8 a.m. or 1 till 9, because those periods, those kapha periods, and then slipping into the pitta period, they stay the same. So it's not a case of getting 8 hours anytime. We want to be getting 8 hours soon after the sun goes down, and obviously at nighttime, if you're in the extreme north or south hemispheres, when it comes to winter, obviously there's a lot longer periods of darkness, and so it might be for that season you have more winding down, and then in the summer you feel a little lighter and energized, and you might do a little bit more. But still, we want to be working with what we see outside in nature, and not just what works with our to-do list and how many things we want to do. When we have a big night out and then we feel really sluggish and hungover the next day, yes, it might be to do with the amount of alcohol that you've had, but it's also to do with when you slept. Even if you've gone to bed at 2 a.m. and then you've woken up at 10, you're like, oh, I had a big night out, but I had 8 hours sleep. You still don't feel as refreshed as if you went to bed at 10 and woke up at 6. And that's because of the systems that are working in our body in reflection to what's happening outside, particularly with the sun coming up and down and going into darkness. So it's not about having 8 hours sleep anytime. It really is about having 8 hours sleep from 10 p.m. letting the body slip into detoxification. The time for the liver to detoxify is between 1 and 3 in the morning, that's when it wants to be not digesting or not trying to get toxins out of the body that are put in really late at night. But instead it wants to be doing all the detoxification through the body, getting rid of excess dead cells, getting rid of inflammation. The body wants to do that every night, so we want to give it the environment so it can best do its job really well. When we start staying up late as well, it's because of that cortisol spike, it starts to give us food cravings. So then we start eating later, and we start taking in more calories in the day. Then we also start to give the body more stuff to have to digest before it can go into detoxification. So we're just making it much harder for the body to do the things that it wants to do in order to stay healthy. And those little little periods of time, or little events, I should say, of staying up later, night after night after night, start to build up. The same way that if you go to bed earlier and getting asleep by 10 p.m., night after night after night, the body starts to move back into those natural rhythms. It starts to detoxify and repair in the way that it wants to. If you are depleted in energy, or if you are sick, or if you have any problems with your immune system, then you want to be going to bed at 9 a.m. You need to be at 9 p.m. You want to be giving it an even longer chance to repair and restore, and then you can go back to 10 p.m. when you're feeling better. So yeah, just take it day by day. If you are a night owl, start steadily day after day or night after night, taking it back a little further. Treat your evenings, your time for yourself, where you can really wind down, do something that's special for yourself, or maybe with your loved ones. Get off the screen, read a book, take a nice bath if you've got a bath, go for a gentle walk, and just give your body that time to really wind down, and then you can snuggle in bed and have a lovely 8 hours sleep. That's it for today.